what's the role of copy and dictation in something like pinwheels and learning to write? Is that something, because it seems like it's a different process. It's not generative, it's copying. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that just in general.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we teach a process called intentional copywork, and then sort of dictation. So it's sort of intentional copywork, intentional dictation, and intentional editing. And those all kind of get wrapped into this idea of like copywork and dictation. And so, excuse me, generally when I'm thinking about how teaching literacy works, as I tend to think about it in a simplified view as kind of this triangle, that you have on one corner explicit instruction in a particular skill.
Okay.
I'm going to explicitly teach short vowel sounds, right, whatever it is. And that's one area where you're doing activities like building with letter tiles or doing word level work, whatever it might be, right? Another corner is going to be original writing. So this is where maybe we take some of the individual word work we did over in our explicit teaching, and you're going to create a sentence using one of those words, right? Or you've been learning letter formation and you want to write, you know, a little happy birthday card to your mom or something, right? Yay, that's awesome, right? So that's all sort of maybe some invented spelling is happening over there. It might be a little looser, right? Looks sort of less structured in the way that original or generative writing can be. Okay. Or it might be structured. It kind of depends on the level of the student, right? If you're at like a high school level and we're learning, you know, how to write like a paper, that's very structured, but it's still kind of in this original, like you're generating the ideas, you're generating the sentences, that space, if that makes sense. And then the third corner of this triangle is copywork and dictation and editing, that trio, which the purpose of is skill consolidation in a controlled environment.
Okay.
So like I was just saying to Jen about that writing is the place where we take all these, you know, disparate pieces of information and we like trash compactor them into this, you know, solid piece of information. That is a very difficult process, right? And it requires a boatload of cognitive energy. So when we can do that, when we can work on consolidating all these skills you're learning over in the explicit teaching corner, when we can consolidate them and remove the cognitive load of creating your own thought, it gives you more mental juice to apply all of the skills you've learned in a consolidated way by copying somebody else's thoughts. So the reason we call it intentional is because whatever it is that you're doing copy work from is using the skills that we're learning over in the explicit teaching corner. So if I'm teaching you a bunch of, you know, short vowel sounds and like CK and TH and whatever, you know, teams, that's going to be showing up in the copy work, right? It's not just random stuff I've grabbed from somewhere. It's very intentional. And we're going to notice it and we're going to talk about it and we're going to mark it. And you're going to, you know, underline all of your short vowel sounds, or you're going to highlight, you know, the teams, so that I'm kind of forcing the kid, but, you know, working with the kid to bring to bear all of the skills they've been learning and to see it in context, to read it in context, because you have to read in order to copy something, we have to read it and understand it. They have to recognize it, and then they have to turn around and produce it by copying it. And the copywork process we teach, you know, and again, we have an entire year-long class dedicated to teaching this, which is our Roots Entwined class, of how you can integrate this into your language arts, you know, teaching. But it's lost where I was going with that. You know, it's not like an art project in that, oh, I'm drawing a line right here, and now I'm drawing a line here, and I'm drawing, it's writing engagement. So it's the word the, I'm writing the word the, right? It's the word, you know, video or something, I'm writing the word video. And I have gone through this process of recognizing, oh, that's a, you know, vowel team over here, or that's, you know, not a vowel team, that's two vowels making their, you know, individual sounds, and that's a bossy R team that I've been learning about, right? And I can see it in context now. So it serves a very critical role. Like I said, it's part of this triangle, it's part of this, and it's each of these three elements is holding up language arts, is creating language arts, right? Especially for a child who struggles, that copywork piece gives them this controlled environment where they can practice all of these skills without the pressures of original thought. And it can give them a space to build up those skills so that when they then go over into original thought, it's not just panic and pick. Like it's now, oh, wait, I've had a lot of practice writing CK after a short vowel sound.
Right.
Oh, I want to write the word, you know, I don't know, back. And I can hear, because I've been practicing, right? My phonological processing has been engaged in all of this work between explicit learning and copywork, that, oh, it's b, okay, I know that. Okay, I know that. K. Oh, wait a minute. I've practiced this so much. I'm starting to become so automatic with this knowledge. That's a CK. I can see that, and I know that. And that's obviously, again, a very long process. You know, that isn't like I did once and now.
Lots of layers there.
Yeah, lots and lots of layers. So in Pinwheels, if you're, you know, kind of looking at that, we do and we teach the intentional copywork process.
Okay.
As a part of that, and editing, and that's why, you know, Linda said this, it's, and I said this, copywork, it's dictation, it's editing, and that, you know, all three of those are intentional. That's kind of its own triangle all by itself. But we teach that in Pinwheels. You know, you get guided through doing that with your student, you know, with all of those elements, with the explicit teaching element and the original writing elements that are also going on.